Okay, here we have Void versus Fakes for the losers quarterfinals of the DPP Revival tournament. The winner will go on to face Pidius in the semi-finals. So Void leads out with a Suicune here, up against Fakes' Zapdos. And Suicune understandably switches out, as Zapdos goes to the Thunderbolt, gets the crit. The Latias is quite bulky, so it doesn't really matter. And here we see Void pivoting into a Jirachi. Quite a clever play here, because if Fakes wants to go into a Latias counter, many of the Latias counters will be checked by Jirachi. Or if Void wants to go for a hidden Power Ice or Toxic or stay in, he's not in a bad spot either, so misses out on potentially firing off a Draco Meteor on that Zapdos. But the upside is that he's not in a bad spot here. Clicks Body Slam, goes for the Progress button up against the Hippowdon here, and he's going to switch out, and understandably the Hippowdon sets up rocks. So now we've got Suicune in, and if we fast forward past leftovers, past Sandstorm, we can see that it's got leftovers. Quite common in the lead spot is to run Lumberry, so leftovers can indicate, could just be a standard 3 attacks, or could be something a bit more interesting. Now, Suicune can be quite difficult to deal with for defensive teams, and Fakes actually stays in, hoping to go for a Roar there, presumably, while the Suicune Carmines. A lot of Powders don't run Roar, so crazy prediction from Void there to stay in and get it. Possibly the Hydro Pump was because it would hit Hippowdon, it would also hit Zapdos, and he could Carmine as the Zapdos came in, but maybe he doesn't want to trade with the Zapdos just yet. So yeah, another sort of safe play from Void that covers all options. And we see now that it's a Protect Suicune. Protect's a great move on Suicune, especially in the lead spot. Scouts for Explosion, lowers the PP of moves like Encore, Scouts Sing here in this case. Sing's a bit of a funky move on Clefable that Fakes quite likes using from some of the games I've watched. It's primarily for other Clefables. In the 1v1, you Seismic toss them down a bit, and then fire off a Sing, and if it hits, you're in a position to win that 1v1. If it misses, you just go again, sort of thing. It's not designed to be used in this spot here, so this is interesting from Fakes. I think he was hoping the Suicune would switch out, he'd fire off a Sing, and maybe hit it, and Sleep is quite overpowered. So probably the plan there. Void does switch out, respecting the Clefable, but the Sing misses, and the Latias is now down to below half health. And it goes for the trick, as Clefable stays in and goes for the Seismic Toss. So Fakes would have been aware that Trick was a prominent option there, and was quite happy to get it on his Clef, in exchange for basically taking out the Latias. Gengar manages to come in on the Seismic Toss, which the Clefable's locked in, so yeah, another nice safe play from Void there. Gengar's going to be good in pretty much all scenarios. And it's got Black Sludge, so it's most likely to be a Taunt Will-O-Wisp set, so the most likely move here is probably Will-O-Wisp that Fakes needs to watch out for. And Fakes goes into a Starmie, which is really nice here, because Gengar loves to spam Will-O-Wisp or Focus Blast on the switch in, and Starmie can take both of those and threaten the Gengar. Fakes switches out. Void doesn't respect this potential Psychic, so quite rare on Starmies, but they can run Psychic, particularly if the structure is weak to Breloom, which Fakes' structure so far looks like it might be. So Psychic definitely was an option on that team, but Fakes didn't have it, and Void called him out on it, said, no, I know you're just pivoting, I'm going to stay in Shadow Ball. But Fakes manages to play around that into the Clef. Goes to knock off on the Heatran, only knocks off a Sugar Berry, which probably won't be too impactful. We might not even see any more ground moves this game, as the Heatran manages to get his rocks off. Now, Heatran can struggle to keep rocks up against Starmie. Ideally Starmie wants to come in, just click Rapid Spin every turn, but Void's got that low HP Latias ready to come in and just die to rocks, and he's also got this Gengar as well, which resists Rapid Spin. He's already scoured for Psychic, he knows the Starmie doesn't have it, So he's quite safe here to come in and threaten to do what he likes. Probably going to Shadow Ball because it's a much safer play. Now he needs to decide what to do next. We know this Clef doesn't have Thunder Wave because we've seen 3 of the moves. Last one is almost certainly soft boiled. So Gengar could stay in if he wanted to go for the Focus Blast, but he's worried about Sing. He'd much rather get this Heatran put to sleep, and he gets his Breloom in. And now we get to see if Fake's structure is weak to Breloom. Again, he's already scouted Psychic, so he's not worried about the Psychic here. So this Breloom is free to do whatever it wants. And he goes to the Seed Bomb. Fakes counters the Breloom with a Clefable. So that's interesting. He was worried about Focus Blast. He was got a Focus Punch. And trying to sack the Clefable, presumably. But fortunately for him, it's not some funky Sword Stab set or something, because that could put him in a spot above him. But yeah, Breloom against Jirachi. Oh, sorry, the Clefable was probably trying to take a Spore, to be honest. It would have been a good turn to Spore as well. But Void doesn't Spore, really, as a lot of these top players don't. They like to keep their Spore in the back, so that it's always a threat. So yeah. Jirachi's in, and there we go, we see the Spore. So Void wasn't scared of that Jirachi, knew it was probably a physical set, probably an Iron Head Body Slam, Wish Protect style of thing. And he may well have been faster than that, or he might have been happy just to risk one Iron Head in return for getting the Spore off, because this Breloom doesn't need much HP to do what it needs to do. He gets the Spore off, goes for the Focus Punch, and we see the Scarm. So yeah, not a super weak Breloom structure. Zapdos, Jirachi, Scarm, but with Rocks, none of them really want to switch into a Focus Punch, so that's what Fakes was trying to be careful playing around earlier. But he's got the Scarm in now. Could risk a Roost. It's yeah, bit of a dicey spot. Goes for the Spikes, which is him trying to get something going here. As in comes the Jirachi and Fire Punches. And you don't want to stay in and take too many Fire Punches because of the Serene Grace high burn chance. Void doesn't want to let him get too many layers of Spikes up either. He's already got 1, he's now up to 2. So he sends in the Gengar. He's in a great spot here. Nothing really wants to switch into this. The Clefable's asleep, so he can really do what he likes. And he just goes for the Focus Blast. Fake stays in and goes for the Brave Bird, which is a great play there. Because he didn't have a great answer to this Gengar, so yeah, that was nice. And Focus Blast never hits twice in a row. And Skarmory beats the Gengar in 1v1. And maybe Void didn't have... No, we already saw Will-O-Wisp. So yeah, should have Will-O-Wisp first turn, but was predicting the Clefable to switch in most likely. Didn't get it. And lost his Gengar because of it. But now we've got the Suicune in, threatening a Hydro Pump. I don't think Void would do anything other than Hydro Pump in this situation. Fakes, you know, may want to just stay in and Whirlwind because of the threat of Calm Mind. Yeah, if the Zapdos comes in, he probably just wants to Hydro Pump to switch out. But let's see, he does Hydro Pump, doesn't miss, quite crucially. And down goes the Skarmory, and in comes Jirachi. So, he goes to the Protect to scout the set. He's not worried about Calm Mind. We've already scouted that it doesn't have a Psychic. And it is just the standard Body Slam set. So, goes to the Body Slam. Doesn't get the Para, which would be a bit frustrating because he would have really liked that in this situation. As Void does go for the Body Slam. Interesting that Void doesn't spam Fire Punch in this situation. Instead goes for the Body Slam, the more consistent, gets the power on. And now he can just spam Fire Punch, gets the power into crit, Meanwhile, Fakes doesn't get his own para. This is a very frustrating scenario, especially as Fakes was the first one to body slam here, and he's the one on the back foot. If he got that body slam off, he'd be in a great shape, but hasn't got it. And he's going to have to try and stall out with Wish and Protect, but Wish and Protect are not great when you're paralysed, so that's going to be the challenge. Does finally get the paralysis off, and now his plan is just going to be to wish. Oh, and it's refresh. Refresh Jirachi, which explains a lot of Void's decisions here. Can threaten a lot, and it is going to be tricky for Fakes to take down a refresh Jirachi. But he's going to start by trying to Thunderwave. No, he goes for the Rapid Spin, gets those hazards out of the way. Stealth Rocks aren't going to come back up because that Heat Trend's asleep. And he's got his Zapdos here, so Void knows the Zapdos is coming in, goes for the Focus Punch, but just to get some chip off. But you can see how crucial that Rapid Spin was. And Void goes for a cheeky Focus Punch again. Fakes has been switching around all over the place, so he was hoping to catch a switch or a roost there. And this Brayden can still do what he needs to do at 60% HP, although there are 3 layers of hazards down, so it's going to be a challenge. Goes to the Jirachi here, which is interesting because I think he needs this to try and win. Fakes feels like he's been on the back foot all game, but now the dust has settled. Fakes has got the hazards gone. He's got 4 mons against 4. Feels like he's got everything checked, and he can just sort of slowly grind and wear down. Void does get the power this time, which is huge because he really, really needed that. And Fakes doesn't want to just stay in and let the Jirachi heal up. So he goes to his own Jirachi, and now we're back into these Wish Refresh wars. Right, Fakes is planning to just heal up the Starmie with Wish, which makes sense. Probably hoping for a Fire Punch, but Void plays around it nicely, making some good predicts here. Just goes for the Iron Head there. And now he's back to his Fire Punch. He gets another crit on the Jirachi and a power on the same turn. So Fakes is forced to risk the Protect, which you wouldn't normally do when you're powered there, but he's obviously feeling on the back foot a bit from all of his hacks against him. Because I say hacks, obviously this is what happens in these Jirachi wars, but certainly frustrating. And you know, despite all that's happened, you know, his Jirachi's in a good spot. It's where it needs to be. So, and he is slightly faster. I know he was protecting. That's what was happening there. So, yeah, this is the problem with being paralysed against a refreshed Jirachi. You know, Void can just spam Fire Punch here and just hope to break through. And it is tricky to find a way through this. I mean, he's just hoping to PP stall Fire Punch, which only has 10 left at this point. So he might get there. And this power would be huge. Obviously, power is not great in a PP war, but it's just going to improve the longevity of this Jirachi, which is exactly what he needs. And he goes for Body Slam again, doesn't get it. He's been quite unlucky with these Body Slams. Obviously Void does have Refresh. And this Jirachi, which was all the way down to 25% for Void, has healed all the way back up to full. Oh, gets another Fire Punch crit para. Goes to the Iron Head, interestingly, probably on the main Protect. Fakes. He does get the power off this time. So, yeah, now this is an interesting spot for Void. He can try and go for a Fire Punch on the switch, which he does. And Fake stays in, gets the recover off. Misses a Hydro Pump. It has not been his game, and Void manages to get the Refresh off. Which means he's in a tricky spot again. And his Starmie's at risk of being flinched down to death again. Oh, and he gets the Fire Punch on the switch. This was huge. This was huge. Fakes thought he was in an Iron Head war, but Void did not want to let that Jirachi back in. He was weaving in as many fire punches as he could to try and prevent it, despite the low PP. Only 4 left. And he could have sent the Zapdos in on a fire punch. That would have drained a couple. Obviously risking the burn on it. But Sub-Roost Zapdos can be okay against Jirachi, because the substitute can't be flinched. But he's still paralysed, and once that sub's gone, he's still at risk of being iron-headed down. So, you know, very frustrating for Fakes, and you can see why a lot of people in DPP do not like Jirachi at the moment, because of games like this, where it's just sort of frustrated its way through everything. Oh my god. I would be fuming as Fakes here, because now even if he gets the roost off, he's going to have an exposed Zapdos. He doesn't even get the roost off. Oh my god. And the crit. And the flinch. And that's it. Zapdos is dead. Yeah. This is one of those games, one of those replays that I think will be quoted when people discuss a Jirachi ban. Is this kind of thing. It's not really what you want to see in a high level match. It's just spam moves. Not to say that Void didn't play it well, particularly those weaving in the fire punches, knew that he had to keep that Jirachi at bay. Despite Fakes' best efforts at draining his PP, he's got just enough PP to do what he needs to do here. Although he's out of body slams, and he's soon to be out of fire punches. Yeah, he's got 1 fire punch left, and he's just going to have to try an Iron Head, so he's not actually that useful here. Oh, but he's got the Breloom. Zapdos is paralysed, so yeah, this game is over. I think Fake's just a bit frustrated is staying in. I guess he could get some Hydro Pump crits. Hydro Pump crit on the thing. Gets the Thunder Wave off here, and was hoping for a full power on the Jirachi. That was a nice out from Fakes. That was a very nice out. And he can do that again here. So I suspect Void will probably switch to Breloom knowing this. No, he doesn't. That's interesting. Oh, does Breloom not have enough HP? No, Breloom doesn't have enough HP to come in on the switch, right. Oh, so this game is not over yet. Fake still has a chance here. If you can get the full power on the switch. Oh, and there we go. Void doing the play that I talked about. Goes to the Suicune instead of the Breloom, which could take a Hydro Pump. Has the Ice Beam. And this Starmie doesn't really have enough PP to kill Suicune. He's got 3 Hydro Pumps that he can hit. And after a Calm Mind, yeah. Even if he crits here, I think crit kills the Suicune, but I don't think he has enough PP to win the game. And there we go, gets in Zapdos, hoping for the full power. Doesn't get it. And Fake says, GG, I guess. And Void politely replies with GG. So, yeah. A frustrating game for Fakes. Probably felt like he had enough answers to Jirachi with Zapdos, Starmie, Jirachi, and Scummer of his own. And they all sort of got beaten down in their own way. Sorry, I'm still recovering from winter flu. And, but we'll be a bit frustrated that he let his Hippowdon go down so early to the Suicune. You can see why, though, now, looking at his team, you know. His Carmine Suicune historically was a great tool against offense, but now actually finds a niche role against some of these defensive teams where actually it can put in quite a bit of work. Won't sweep the whole team, but yeah, it can trade 2 for 1. A lot of scenarios, and Fakes' team is one of those, just sort of a zap me stall. He probably got the matchup he wanted here, Fakes, in terms of, you know, facing just some sort of typical balanced offense, but wasn't able to play it through. Void played extremely well, extremely sort of conservative, thoughtful, and just gave Fakes minimal options, minimal outs, as he ground him down over time. So yeah, very well played from Void there, and we're on to game number 2. So Void, if he wins this one, he is through to the semi-finals. We start out with an Empoleon against a Jirachi. Jirachi goes for a Body Slam, gets the power this time, which will make Fakes a lot happier, and it's a Stealth Rock knockoff set. Doesn't have leftovers. The Clay for Stealth Rocks in return, and the Empoleon gets rocks up. As Clefable goes for a knockoff here, he's just spamming knockoff on the switch, hoping that Void switches out, which Void should do, but Void is just staying in Hydro Pumping, and after all the Fakes' bad luck, he's getting a bit of it back here. He does try and soft boiled on these Hydro Pumps, which is dangerous, because a crit would kill him. Hoping for a miss here. Might be a bit tilted. This last one is super risky. Wow, Fakes. That's a little bit crazy to me. I think he might be tilted a bit from game 1. Obviously it's unlikely to hit that many Hydro Pumps with the power up, but, you know, I think you got to try a couple maybe, but at some point, you know, when it risks the KO, just go for the Seismic Toss. Clef is so valuable. You can get Clef back up to full HP quite easily with some good double switching. So yeah, I think that was a bit of a big risk. And yeah, Fake says sigh in the chat, which I think is a sign that he might be a bit tilted here from game number 1. But it goes Celebi out. Just goes for the grass, not there. Void's been staying in, so maybe he thought he'd say it again, but I think it was quite unlikely Void would stay in there. Gets his own Jirachi in, this menace from game number 1. It's got Fire Punch, it's got leftovers. This is going to be major flashbacks. And he's spamming Iron Head here. We've seen Hidden Power on this Celebi, but it probably still has Thunder Wave. The Clefable was the Stealth Rock user, so yeah, quite common to have Thunder Wave in the last slot, so it's a bit risky for Jirachi to stay in an Iron Head here, but maybe Void is just loving another refresh Jirachi here. Sorry about that. So yeah, he goes for the Body Slam instead of spamming Iron Heads, and gets that off. And Fake switches out to a Donphan. We see another one of these Celebi Donphan structures, which are very popular at the moment. Void has the Rotom though. Always good in team building to think about your plans for Donphan, and your plans for Starmie as well. So here Void has a Rotom, which good answer to both. But you know, you can also deal with them by keeping up the pressure, by not letting them switch in, or by having a Stealth Rock user that they can't easily rapid spin against. But with Empoleon lead and a sort of balanced offensive team, it's quite nice to have the Rotom here to help you keep rocks up against his team. And Fakes has a Togekiss to go alongside this structure. Goes for an early Nasty Plot, which again, I don't think Fakes would do if he wasn't tilted. Generally, you don't go for a Nasty Plot this early here, especially as he knows the Jirachi's there. Unless this has Flamethrower, this is unlikely to work out well for him. Void just goes for the Iron Head here. I would have thought Body Slam, but actually Iron Head, he thinks he's got better odds here. If he gets 5 in a row, that's the end of the Togekiss. So another flinch here. Togekiss is dead, and that is another frustrating loss for Fakes. But I think on a different day, he's not staying in against the Jirachi. You know, you're not supposed to there. Don't risk it if you don't have to, I think is the best policy. And yeah, he could have gone to the Starmie earlier on. Gone for the Rapid Spin. Void doesn't get the power there, which is nice. Fakes doesn't go for a T-Wave. Possibly means he doesn't have it. Or maybe he thought it was better to recover up first. Yeah, he thought it was better to recover up first, which is interesting, because now he's in a similar spot. But he took a bit more risk, in my opinion. But yeah, it is Refresh Jirachi, and we're seeing the power of Refresh Jirachi here. A set I hadn't fully appreciated, to be honest, before this. So, and it's going to be tricky for Fakes to deal with again. You know, he's got his Dom Fan, that doesn't resist Iron Head, so that's at risk. He's got his own Jirachi, which he's not switching in here. And this is just going to be a big challenge for him to deal with. Oh, the crit flinch when Jirachi crits is just the worst. And it's quite likely to get him because it's spamming so many Iron Heads. Gets the body slam power here. Finally in comes the Dom Fan. It's gonna come into a body slam, which is not the move it wants to switch into ideally, but Fakes is low on options at this point. I think speaking for this long has dried my voice out, but I don't think there's gonna be many turns left in this game. I think Fakes is gonna be absolutely fuming right now. And if he doesn't get this flinch, yeah, which he does, yeah, and as Fake says in the chat, how am I supposed to win this? And in comes Tyranitar here against the Jirachi, which is interesting. Maybe there was just a PP stall an extra Iron Head. That is interesting, just to pivot around. Not sure what that was about, or just flexing that he's got one. But yeah, ideally that Tyranitar would switch in against Clefable, Starmie, or maybe even Togekiss, because it might not have Aura Sphere. But yeah, this is a familiar theme from game number 1. Void spamming Fire Punch against the Jirachi, trying to Wish Protect. And yeah, this is quite a frustrating spot for Fakes to be in. But the thing is, Wish Protect is not ideal when you're paralysed. And what's he supposed to do against Refresh Jirachi? It's just going to keep doing this. You know, get the body slam off, but Jirachi can just refresh. And Void throws out refresh there, just doesn't want to waste PP at this point. He knows that the Wish was going to come in, he was going to heal back up forward, so we might even see a refresh here. But because Void doesn't want to be exploited, he doesn't do it. And we see Fakes raging a little bit in the chat here. It's just random letters that he's put in. But yeah, clearly not happy. And I think there doesn't seem to be any outs from here. Even if there were, how would he get his head together for a game number 3? Yeah. He knows he needs to keep the Jirachi alive, so he sacks that. In comes the Starmie, he's hoping this isn't Scarfed, and it's not, it's Specs. Hydro Pump misses, which is going to wind him up, but yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Fakes says GG in the chat, says, I don't know your full team, but you should have lost game 1. Void politely replies GG's, and that's the end of that. So yeah, a very frustrating finish for Fakes. Particularly as he brought Togekiss this game. Togekiss and Jirachi on a Paraspam team, and he's the one who gets hacked out of the game. But, yep, that is just what Jirachi does, and in the hands of a good player, which Void is, you know, we just saw how difficult it is to play around. You know, Fakes tried to exploit some of the free turns he'd be granted, but Void just wasn't giving him those free turns. He made sure to keep weaving in the fire punches and the body slams on potential switch moves. You know, he used Refresh to save PP when he could, but he didn't use it too often, so that he became exploitable. And yeah, trying to give Void some credit for the play, but from Fakes' perspective, that would be extremely frustrating. But that is what it is. That's what Jirachi does. That was the power of Refresh Jirachi. I think these 2 replays will be used anytime a Jirachi suspect test is mentioned. But that's how it goes sometimes, and that is Void through to the semi-finals against Piteous, better known as Eve.